Hi, everyone. This is CricketSong with Inner Wisdom, and you're watching another episode of Wyrds, Witches, Witchcraft. And I'm here with my usual co-host, Obsidian Fire. Say hello.
Hello, bonjour. Eh bien, normalement, on aurait dû avoir un invité, mais il ne s'est pas montré. Alors, on va improviser. J'espère que vous allez bien. Et hop, c'est parti pour un tour. Oh, look who's here.
I see. And tonight, the topic was supposed to be the witches' relationship with demons and spiritual entities. Oh, I just went out of focus.
That's interesting.
There we go. But our co-host, our special guest, Adam Balan, I don't know what happened. He's not here. And I haven't received a message from him saying that he wasn't showing up. So maybe he'll show up. And if he does, then we can discuss our topic. Otherwise, this is going to be sort of like a Q&A kind of show tonight. Yeah, hello everyone in chat. Hey, Lilogan, Hellbound Heathen. Hello, how are you? Apollo Nevitz. Hello, yeah. How are you? So yeah, questions for us, I guess, about anything witchy, anything witchcraft, magical, spiritual in nature. Because neither Obsidian Fire or I really have anything specific to talk about in regards to demons and spiritual entities of that sort. This was sort of like what Adam wanted to talk about, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about it with him, since he works with, or he says, or his practice, he talks about on his channel working with demons. So I wanted to discuss what that looked like with him, and since he's not here, Obsidian Fire and I, it wouldn't have been a topic we would have talked about ourselves. So if you have questions for us, we'd be more than happy to explore questions from our live audience, our live chat audience. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know, Hellbound. What are the history of demons and where do they come from? I don't know. Good question. I mean, from my perspective, they are more of a Christian concept, from my understanding.
Me too.
So, I mean, even when I was Christian, when I was Catholic, and then when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and when I was a Methodist, all those years, demons never really entered my spirituality, really ever. Satan was, but I don't ever remember as a Catholic being afraid of demons. And even as a Methodist or a Jehovah's Witness, there was more of a focus of, don't listen to Satan. Yeah, he keeps jumping. Oh, and I went out of focus again. He keeps jumping on my desk. So I don't know. Yeah, I not an easy question. Nothing that I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the history of demons are, and I don't know where they come from.
The only thing I could maybe suggest is that there might have been some kind of confusion between daemons and demon in ancient Greek. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, daemons, right, exactly. Yeah, and
let's say
whenever I think of daemon, a daemon, I think of The Golden Compass, the movie. Did you see that? It had Nicole Kidman in it. And the children had sort of like a tether to their daemon. And their daemon took on different forms. Like most of them looked like, they looked like an animal like. This is years ago, but that was a great illustration, fictional, obviously, illustration of what I understood a daemon to be. And I could just say, demons from Christian thought are what? Satan's helpers, basically. They're
Yeah.
angels and demons and God and Satan. I mean, from my perspective,
It's
um,
all divided into white and black, but
yeah,
demons were lesser occult entity, lesser spirits, either um, like a lesser deity form or spirit guide, and there were two kind of it: the nice one and the not so nice one. So maybe the confusion starts somewhere in between.
yeah.
So
I
yeah.
mean, the way I perceive demons, um, or what people call demons, because I wouldn't call them demons. I think from my interaction with spiritual entities and astral travel and all that are basically lower vibrational entities that, just like from my perspective, angels were never human beings. Angels were created as angels. Um, Demons, they're kind of like counterpart, are spiritual entities that were always spiritual entities. They were never human beings.
Mhm.
And they are just a lower vibrational frequency, meaning, from my perspective, that they're closer to the physical plane. And because they are closer to the physical plane of existence, they have more contact with physical life, and they are almost like their agendas would be very much physicality agendas, like human beings are agendas. What we want, what we desire in a physical realm is, people want success, they want, things in a physical sense. um, so these entities are a lower vibrational frequency, so they're more in contact with humans, and their desires, their things that motivate them tend to be more human like. These are very, it's such a complex topic, and these words I'm using are just very simplistic. But it's a complex, situation. That's
Yeah.
how I understand it. So when I read stories, and I love religious horror and religious fiction in that sense, in sort of horror, mystical, occult.
Mhm.
So possessions, I love reading. The Exorcist was one of my favorite movies. It still is. That
Me
kind
too.
of thing. Demons are more likely to possess a physical vessel because their desires are closer. They have this desire to be physical. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? So that's how but I don't necessarily think they are of Satan, or I don't think they're Satan's spawn in a very literal sense. I think it's just an association kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
me neither. I don't know, especially. I've just catch from the corner of my eyes what Cyrus Moonside just said, and yeah, we've been talking about that just a little bit, um, just a minute ago. That maybe there is a confusion between diamonds from Greek
Mm-hmm.
and demon from Catholic perspective, which is not the same thing at all. But about the demon as a Catholic religion perceive it, I don't know as well.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is what was this little music? I
It
heard.
was a notification.
Oh, okay, sorry. I perceive that as a lesser, l- less of rational entity. low vibration entity, low form of existence, closer to us. Yeah,
Yeah.
should totally agree on that. But after that,
Wow, I'm sorry. I need to turn the volume down or something because I'm getting crazy notifications from someone who was supposed to be here.
and then suddenly you remember.
Uh-huh. No, I'll tell you later. But
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, so Garrett Townsend said, so are demons higher vibrational frequency than humans, or are they below human frequency? So from my perspective, when I talk about frequencies, so I talk about and this is just my terminology. I don't know if everybody agrees. This is how I describe it. So physical, me, you, this microphone, this camera, this computer. This is low frequency because when the energy moves slower, when things vibrate slower, they're denser. So from that, human beings are physical. I think the only thing I would say in physical that would be a lower vibration than this might be things that aren't able to move, that are completely solid. Um, like, I don't know, metal that isn't porous. Human beings, I feel like we are lower vibrational frequency, but because we have a spiritual part of us, we're not completely like non-moving kind of thing. So because demons, as I'm describing what I understand it to be, is not physical, then I'd say they're a higher vibrational frequency than physicality, because we don't see them when we encounter them. They're like in a etherical realm, then they're going to be higher vibrational frequency than human beings, but they're not as higher vibrational frequency as source energy, or even where I perceive angels. It's a similar but different. And this is where things get really complex. I don't think it's as easy to describe as I'm making it sound
Yeah,
like right now.
it's a it's a complex topic
Yeah.
anyway. And you know what? I'm not working with anything like, demon like in a Catholic perspective. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not working with it. Hey, Shadow, I don't want to work with it because let's put it simply in the obsidian way. If you work with demon, in my perspective, it's you wanna get something, and you need something not particularly well perceived by the rest of humanity, something not so good. You wanna accomplish kind of a dark, we may say dark work,
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
probably, and then you are seeking help from some kind of entity you perceive aligned with your goal.
Right.
You know what? If I wanna accomplish something not so good, I won't bet on any other entity than myself. I'm gonna get the job done, and I don't need to call anyone else to help me. So I don't care
Yeah. Yeah.
about
And
that.
I think as Diana Greenwood was saying, she treats demons equal to the way she treats her matron and patron goddess and god, and how she wants to be treated herself. I agree. No matter what, for me, no matter what spiritual entity I'm working with, there's a level of respect. I mean, if I decided for whatever reason, I can't perceive a reason right now why I would, but if I were to work with a low level, dense spiritual entity, such as I'm describing a demon to be, and I think a lot of them are associated with darker things because it is more earthly things. I think when we leave physical nature, when we ascend vibrationally, our desires for physical earthy things, we transcend. We have a different perspective. Obtaining wealth and seeking revenge isn't so important to us when we're no longer in a physical body and we don't have that humanistic ego thing working with us that I feel is required when we're in the physical sense, when we need self-preservation when we are in a physical body. The body needs to survive in order for us to continue to live in a physical world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think our desires are very different once we transcend that. Once we leave our physical body, we see a greater perspective. We understand things in a different way. Then I feel like even what we call dark and light is different from that perspective. So if I'm going to work with a demon, as I've described, I'm still going to treat that demon with respect. I'm still going to, because I treat all beings, human or otherwise, animals, even a cat, a dog, I don't know, a skunk, a raccoon, whatever, birds, butterflies, snails, whatever. I treat, there's a respect there. So if I'm going to treat those things in the physical with a level of respect, I'm going to do so with non-physical entities as well. So
Yeah, of course. And I would say you should, not you especially, but the one who wanna work with demon should show some respect, as well as working with deity. You should show some respect, because if you don't, my bet is at one point you're gonna pay you're gonna pay the lack of respect.
yeah, I mean, just like you would with a human being. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep showing fellow human beings a lack of respect. I mean, I could say for me, there's only so many times that I will deal with disrespect from someone before they're gonna hear me.
Yeah, at some
There's
point.
only so much. Even if it's just I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm blocking you. I
Mhm.
mean, that would be the same thing. That a spiritual entity may just stop listening.
Working with you,
Yeah.
listening, coming and responding, and yeah, yeah, and yeah. And I would say, if you want to work with some lower vibrational entity or darker in nature, because I do believe there is some kind of darker entity that doesn't want to be good to anyone. There is entity like that, just as there is entity who wanna help out anyone. Uh, you should be prepared, because it's the same exactly. In my opinion, it's the same as wanting to have some kind of murder or something as your friend.
Mm.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. But you know what? You've asked for it. So if something goes wrong,
Yeah,
it's
I
on you.
mean, if
It's on you.
people are all different types of people. We have all different personalities. We have all different desires. We have all different things we want and things we don't want, things we like and things we don't like. And I think you'll find all those types of spiritual entities out there, whatever we label them, whether we label it a demon or a spirit guide or a whatever,
Whatever.
you know. Um, I feel like there is the same variety in humanity that we see in spiritual entities as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. Someone suggested angels were there. The Bible suggests that there were angels that were not entirely good. I don't think angels are all good, but again, we're using good as there. That's subjective. like I had said earlier, I feel like angels
Power
are
too.
spiritual entities that were created as spiritual entities. They were not physical beings that after physical death became angels. I feel like angels are like a species of a spiritual entity. Um, and in a species, you're going to have angels that are altruistic and angels that are not. I feel like it's going to be different because we're looking at these things from a perspective of a human being, you
Yeah.
know. So it's going to be a different perspective. But I don't think, I really don't think anything in life is all one way and or all another. I just
Mm-mm.
don't see it that way. Life, I don't.
Because there is, I think they have their personal agenda. I mean, there is higher vibrational entity who doesn't need or doesn't want to work with us because they have something else to do. There is entity who want to work with you and some other who doesn't want, for some reason that we might not be able to understand. So again, it's always from our low perspective. We understand things from this point of view, but we do not understand much.
Right, right. Someone asked, so is working with a demon more possible than working with an angel? I mean, I don't know. I don't work with either. But just going from my thoughts and what I've suggested thus far in this conversation, I feel like working with a demon and or working with an angel and or working with another spiritual entity, I think it's all in the same realm of possibility. I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to
which,
depend on your beliefs and your spiritual alignment. I mean, I don't see a
yeah,
difference.
and maybe if we consider that demon like, devil like entity are closer to us in a vibrational
Hmm.
understanding, then maybe it's gonna be easier to reach them than to reach
Oh,
the ones that are, higher,
right, right, right,
because they
right.
are
And then, yeah,
closer. You know, it's like want to talk with someone in the next room through the wall, and trying to talk with someone 3 floor ahead
above
of
you.
you.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That would make sense to me too.
yeah. You see, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of, you need to be in a higher state yourself to reach higher entity. But
Right.
if, in my understanding, again, it's just the way I perceive things. That doesn't mean I'm right. It's
No,
just,
but to me, it makes sense too. I'm not, it makes sense. I mean, if it, yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, if you're going to, it's just the same um, concept as channeling.
mhm,
If you're going to be a channel and you've decided you're going to invoke a spiritual entity or allow a spiritual entity to take over your physical body, but you are depressed or you are um, dealing with a lot of personal shit and you can't clear your mind of that in order
mhm,
to be a clear channel, and you're just thinking and dwelling and you're in a bad mood or a rotten mood and you're angry, you have brought your own vibrational frequency lower, and then say you're trying to invoke an angel, a higher vibrational frequency. I think you may have, I don't know, but I think
yeah,
you might have a little more difficulty in doing something like that. I mean, from my own personal preparation to channel, when I was channeling quite frequently years ago, I would take time to prepare myself, you know, to mentally prepare myself, to physically prepare myself to do that so that I
mhm.
wasn't just catching Lord knows what.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I agree with this, and it's the same way when, if you work with some kind of spirit guide or deities or else. It's the same way. You gotta have more trouble to get in contact with such entities if you are yourself in a lower state of mind or emotional if state. So yeah, I bet it's easier in this way to contact lower entity because they are closer and they're more likely to understand in lack of a better word, to understand in which state you are right now.
Right.
Right now. Let's say if you're angry, I bet it's going to be easier for this kind of low entity to understand and to respond to this vibration
Yeah.
than it's going to be for a higher entity that might not perceive your angriness in the same way.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I
yeah.
agree. Shadow. Hey, Shadow. Was wondering, what are your thoughts on elementals as in the theosophy concept of elementals and jinn, Islamic and pre-Islamic?
Well, I don't know. I don't know much about jinn. I'm
Me
sorry.
neither.
And elemental, it's kind of my personal perception of it. So I don't have any book culture on either of those entities. So
Well, the only thing I can comment on from my understanding,
yeah,
elementals, I would say, are um, the spiritual entity, the spiritual energy of an element, of a physical element. That's how I perceive elementals. So if we're looking at fire in the physical sense, the flame, the burning, the actual fire when we see it, um, the elemental, the spiritual energy or the spiritual entity of fire to me would be the elemental. So if I am working in the physical sense and I want to work with the energy of fire, I would burn something. If I want to work with the elemental, the spiritual energy of fire, I would on the astral, work with the spiritual elemental or the elemental of fire in the astral. Just like, my spiritual essence, my spirit travels to the elemental, to the elemental plane or the astral plane. My spirit is there. Fire's spirit, the elemental of fire, is there. That's how I perceive the elementals. I'm not sure exactly how theosophy sees it. I don't know how they describe it, but that's how I would describe that. Shadow, I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what I was talking about. The jinn concept is pre-Islamic. Arabs believed in them.
isn't I think about the gene, isn't it the one kind of the same of genie?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
And why? Which is closer again to diamonds. They were good and not so good.
Right.
So I think I wonder. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think it's kind of related, but
Okay. Apollo Nevitz, what are your thoughts on the divine creator as being a duality representing both male and female aspects and a duality of good and evil represented in both male and female aspects of the divine? Okay. What are your thoughts on the divine creator as being a duality representing both male and female aspects? I believe the divine is that. That's my
yeah,
belief.
it's the word.
Okay.
So yeah, true.
And a duality of good and evil represented in both male and female aspects of the divine. Well,
I don't get the second part. I'm
so
sorry.
I think what he's asking is that, so if you and I, we both see, okay, we see the divine as masculine and feminine. And then they're asking about within the masculine, there is good and evil. And within the feminine, there's good and evil. What are your thoughts on that? for me, I don't see anything as good and evil. So, I mean, everything just is. So I don't know. I mean,
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm too tired, but I'm not sure I get the question again. For me,
okay. So
the source is
within the
what?
masculine aspect of the divine, there's good and evil in the
Hmm?
masculine.
Yeah. Well,
And in the feminine, there's good and evil.
yeah, but if the source is both feminine and masculine, there's I don't get the need to separate the two. It's
Oh,
a
okay. Yeah, I mean,
that's
I
why
don't
that
see good and evil in the masculine, feminine, or the divine at all. I feel like
especially
the divine just is, and it's us that
yeah,
perceive things as good or bad.
yeah, I think so, which doesn't mean that there is no bad things or bad dark and destructive vibration, but I don't see the source, the divine source, as good and bad. I just think that we do not understand
Yeah.
what it is.
I think when we see things as destructive or harmful, we label that. I think it's morality that labels things good and bad. It's our sense of morality, and I think that can be contextual, meaning that um, if I am in a situation where I am unable to feed my children and I go and steal a loaf of bread so that my kids can have something to eat, I may feel guilty in doing that, but ultimately I feel like I need to do that to feed my kids, because being a mom who lets her kids starve is just as bad as
Yeah,
stealing the bread. So
absolutely.
and then in another situation, if I have money and I can go out and buy the bread to feed my kids, but I decide to steal it instead, that is a totally different situation. And
Mm,
I would label that as bad. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think when we just look at things and with a sense of morality within ourselves, a sense of values, a sense of right and wrong for us, then we look at these things and we place judgments like good and bad on it. But I think nature in its natural way, things are going to be destroyed, things are going to be born, there's
yeah,
death, there's birth, there's the natural flow of energy. I just
nothing is, in my understanding, nothing is all white or black. There, everything is shade of gray, and it depends on on which situation you're in and how you're gonna act. That doesn't mean I do forgive any act that is done by thinking, oh, it's all great. No, no. But there is, yeah, it's contextual, absolutely. And, we do all have our dark side. And
mhm.
it's the same way for everything, I think.
Yeah. What are
So
your thoughts? Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that I do not divide most of the time. I do not divide people or things or in two clear category, the good
Yeah.
and the bad. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think and I was saying this to, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
That's
I think, like I was talking to you, uh, Obsidian, when we were talking about Elder Scrolls Online
yeah.
and writing, writing stories or seeing movies. And I was talking about this with my husband too, that in those sense, in in that context, I like good and bad. I like to know who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. And I like playing the bad guy, or I like writing the bad guy and writing the good guy, because you get these nice conflicts, that needs resolution. Are you with the Empire or the Rebellion? Are you for Darth Vader or for Obi-Wan Kenobi? Those kind of things. I like the cut and dry. This is a good guy. This is a bad guy. But life isn't like that. I mean, it's fun in fiction, and it's fun in games, and it's fun in watching on the television, but life is so much more complicated than that. So, yeah. There was a discussion in the chat about Lucifer. So, question, and someone was suggesting, or I think it was Lilokan that was asking about the history about Lucifer, because someone mentioned that they had, I think it was a relationship with Lucifer. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, we're talking about demons, we're talking about angels, Satan, the devil, Lucifer, all the same entity, different names for the same entity. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, not much, again, because I did not receive any Catholic or any other religion, education or pre-made thoughts, but there is anyway a huge Catholic vibration in France. So
there is.
There is. So I did hear about. Well, for me it's complicated. I would separate Lucifer from the devil, even if Lucifer is supposed to be a fallen angel, the one who leads rebellion against God. But I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember why. In the religion, why does he lead a rebellion? And I'm wondering if it's not about. I think it was about the relationship with humanity, with men.
From what I remember, from
And it was
Bible
closer.
story and religion class and everything, is Lucifer was, this is from what I remember, I could be wrong, was the first angel, and the most God's favorite angel. And when God made man,
It looks like,
Lucifer became jealous of God's relationship with man,
yeah.
and he was jealous of that, and he thought himself to be like God. I think the idea was there's a teaching here that we should not put ourselves equal with the creator, kind of thing. So then Lucifer was thrown out of heaven. That's what I remember. But again, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I read my Bible and went to school for.
Yeah, I don't know, and I will believe you on word because I don't know.
I could be wrong.
But let's say it's
I don't know.
that. Yeah, let's say it's that about Lucifer. Well, it sounds pretty much like, human perspective again, and that's my problem with religion, because it's usually a bunch of men trying to get power, have power onto the rest of us. So it's about men directing men. And I don't care about that. I don't want any of that. That's my problem with any kind of religion. It's about power. Men trying to have power. And if you remember well about the story of Lucifer, well, it's just that. It's, yeah, it's, don't you see, the God favorite angel. So what? It was his cat? What's this? Seriously? You man, come on, get serious. It has no sense whatsoever. It reminds me, Greek or Roman mythology as well as I do, or even Egyptian, or as much as I like this mythology, I think we need to remember it's men perceiving higher things and trying to make it work.
Yeah, and
Trying
I
to
think there's context too when we're
yeah,
reading mythologies, and even I would include Christian mythology in that, that it was written by people for people of that time. And times have changed, and understandings of things have changed, and interrelationship between people have changed. Relationships with other
but
people, we've changed over time, as we should. And I
yeah,
feel like sometimes people stick to the original mythology and they don't want to change it.
yeah.
um
But
but go
it
ahead.
changed. We changed. The words changed. That
Yes,
doesn't
the
mean that,
understanding of the words changed too.
yeah, the relationship with it too.
Yeah.
So it's good to to make some research. I mean, if you want to work with some specific deity, or if you are called by some specific deity, it's good to make some research to seek what was the perception of this specific entity. But don't forget, this is more than that.
Yeah.
There is more than that. Even if the archetypes, you will find things that will resonate with you. It's always more than that. And so to come back to Lucifer, well, the whole concept of God's favorite. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
I feel
think Paul
like
is
personally,
enough.
I feel like all three are different entities, only because the devil I associate with more like Cernunnos and uh, Herne, or Herne, the horned god. I
Exactly.
feel like that's how I perceive the devil. People say the devil, but that's the image I get: the horns, the hooves, but like a human animal shape, more of a natural entity, an earthy entity. I think of the devil in the tarot deck, and that
Mm.
doesn't speak to me about, that doesn't talk to me about Satan. It just
Me
doesn't.
neither. Me neither.
Satan for me is opposer to God. It's a Catholic mythology. It's the opposite of the light. So that's a separate entity. And then when I think of Lucifer, I think of the morning star, the
Yeah,
illumination, the light in the darkness, the one who is going to bring illumination, who is going to bring knowledge. I do think of an angelic form for Lucifer,
you know
but
what?
I don't feel like he's Satan.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Yes, you can.
I so agree with that, and I would go further. In my perception, Satan, or the devil aspects, which are closer from one another. I think the devil, the horned thing, is an attempt of Catholic religion to devilize the pagan gods. So the devil for me doesn't exist
Mhm.
as it is. It's just a twisted way to show other pagan beliefs, to push people away from it.
Yeah.
Satan is a Catholic creation, and a very effective one, because I do believe that there were and there is so many people of all the world and through the ages that were in fear of it, that it's a gigantic thought form, it's a god form.
Mhm.
Satan was made by men.
Yes, I
My
agree.
eyes.
I agree. My eyes too. We talked about when we were talking about God forms and servitors with Cole.
That's true.
We were talking about
Yeah. And
Satan.
Lucifer reminds
And
me Apollo.
yes, he does.
It's
He reminds me of Apollo too.
And you know what? Apollo was a really huge figure, and it was followed by many, even in France and in the north. There were um, followers of Apollo, and in my eyes, it's again an attempt to
make it demonized, to sort of, yeah. I agree.
So that's what is my perception on the three.
Yeah. Lilokin talked about Baphomet is an alchemical icon, not an entity, and I agree totally. That's how I view Baphomet too. Baphomet, someone, I don't remember who the person was, but they sent me a message or an email asking me how, because they saw the Baphomet statue on my altar and wanted to know how I worked with Baphomet as an entity, and I had to explain that I don't. Baphomet is not an entity to me. It's an avatar for everything, for the microcosm and the micro and macro and everything. It's just this image of all in one. It's not an entity, or I don't perceive the Baphomet as an entity. Genies are jinn, Shadow said, yes. Someone suggested all light casts shadows. I agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
It's not good and evil. The divine is always light, but there is shadow. Yes, I agree with that. Lilokin wants to know, does evil, quote, evil, live outside of ourselves or within us?
So do I have there to understand evil, like, kind of devil, evil,
like sinister, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean, hellbound by evil?
Yeah, or is it evil in type of entity's perception?
Right, we need to know.
Yeah.
Oh, my look, in Star Wars references shows your age. I know. Oh well, I still love Star Wars. Hey, there's a new Star Wars movie coming out too. Speaking of movies, we got our tickets to see Endgame, the Avengers Endgame. We're gonna see it in IMAX next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend. We're seeing it, I think, Friday night at 11 o'clock at night. I can't wait. It's like a 3-hour movie. Anyway, I can't wait to find out what happens. Oh my God.
Don't tell me.
I won't tell you. I'll just go, you gotta go see it. Anyway.
I just want to see this one.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. What is that a response to my question? I don't know. Let's see. The line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human. Look at it. I think I reached my question limit for the day. I'm full of questions, just attempting to keep it light. Satan takes a third of the angels with him, according to the Bible. Christian mythology is funny, but it isn't all mythology. No, not all. Obsidian fire, yes. I don't know what we were talking about because no, at Hellbound, but looking at your question, I appreciate it. What wouldn't be? It just seems to be a series of stories for the assumed betterment of future lineages. Satan is Christian concept. I agree. Yeah, we agree. Yeah. Satan is all our fears and everything evil personified. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of insight from this topic. I know. And Adam isn't even here. And we're still having a wonderful show about demons and evil. How would you perceive evil?
Evil, again, as a concept or as an entity? I do believe that there is...
Oh, the evil chocolate chip. Oh, no, that's someone else. Sorry.
The evil chocolate chip.
Per Bugalow said, the evil chocolate chip cookies live outside of me until they get in my belly. But chocolate is angelic, says Hellbound. So if we're talking about evil in the sense that it is bad, it is everything wrong, it is the against good, it's, destruction for the sake of destruction for harmful purpose, malicious, malevolent, all the
all the pleasure.
Yeah.
destruction too, because it pleases you to
just to destroy.
harm other. Okay, so what was the question now?
So do we perceive this that we just described as being inside of us or outside of us? Is it something? I agree. Because my original thought, even before we had to go into what evil was, is that everything, as above, so below, as within, so without.
Yeah.
So if we see evil outside, it's because it's a reflection of what we have within us. If we have it within us, it's because it came from above. Everything is a reflection of everything else.
Yeah.
So because everything is part of everything and everything is interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can say that we have this sort of, because we are human beings and we have the spectrum of experiences that we can have, and we have the spectrum of emotion, and we have intentions that can range from altruistic to self-serving. Because we are here and we are experiencing all of it, then outside influences can certainly nurture both positive things and negative things. It's within us, and outside can definitely influence us.
Yeah.
So
it's both. I think it's both. It's as simple as, you had a bad day and you go back to home and there is something going wrong there, and then suddenly you will burst in angriness and you will broke something, or you will shout at someone you love just because you had a really bad day. At this moment you're just shouting for the pleasure of shouting. It won't resolve anything. So it can, it's like this. It's inside and it's outside.
I agree. And I think, I mean, there's these cliches, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch kind of thing. That's, I think, the idea of influences. If you have a whole basket of very ripe, wonderful, succulent apples that were just harvested and they're wonderful, and then you put a rotten one in there, I mean, the chemical reaction is going to rotten them all. It's going to spread. And I think that's the same sort of thing. You could have someone who is so positive and bubbly and joyful and full of love and joy, and you surround them with, murderers and all these kind of, rapists and all these negative, put them in a house with all these 13 ghosts. Ever see that movie? You'll have someone who will turn out to be psychotic, right? Because this influence around them.
The pressure.
Chewy chocolate chip cookies are angelic, but crispy, thin chocolate ones are evil. No, I like the thin, crispy ones. My husband, Benabel. My husband likes the soft, chewy ones. I like the crispy, thin ones.
I don't know. I have no opinion.
Well, I guess that means I like the evil cookies. Well, someone's got to eat them. I'll take one for everyone else. I'll eat the evil cookies. Save you all from the evil cookies. The thin, crispy ones. No, sacrilege. Okay, but if God was the creator of all, including itself, then it would have to be the progenitor of both good and evil. Yes.
Well, there is everything and everywhere. And in my eyes, it's a matter of choice. Mm-hmm. It's free will. Will you be evolved enough to cause havoc around you or not?
Will you be strong enough to withstand the influences of the environment around you, including society as a whole? And like I would also suggest is I've already said earlier that when we start labeling things as good or evil, that's a morality judgment that we're making. And the morality is going to be determined by the individual. I mean, in some instances, it's evil to kill a cow. But in other instances or other countries and other cultures, it isn't evil to kill a cow. You know what I mean? So when we label things like that, we're coming from a morality. And I don't think the creator is beyond human morality.
Yeah.
I don't think we can perceive these things with our brain. I just don't think we're able to.
So yeah, same. So after that, it's all a matter of how do you perceive the world and where do you want to stand in this world. Personally, I want to stand in the most helpful and positive way I can. But but that doesn't mean I see myself as a demon when I enter any rage.
Yeah, because I think even standing, I would stand on the line. I mean, if we're looking that there is this line and there is this, the white is this side, the black is on this side, I'd like to stand on the line. I'd like to be the bridge. I'd like to be the one to help those dealing with evil and help them see the light, help them illuminate it. And those who are standing in the light constantly, help them see the shade, help them see that there is shadows too, because there isn't just light and there
No,
isn't
there
just
is more.
dark.
And I don't consider that I stand in the light. I'm trying to be a good person. This is not the same thing.
It's funny because I perceive myself, and I know other people probably won't, but I perceive myself as dark and trying to shine the light.
Yeah,
My
I don't.
heart is black, I know you're laughing, but that's how I perceive myself. And I know no one's going to believe me, but I'm telling you that's
No,
true.
I can't understand why. And I know,
And I know you understand why.
yeah, because I have, as everyone, I have my own shadows, and I acknowledge it. So I understand what you mean, and that's
I
why
know.
I do
Oh,
not
I'm going to
possibly.
cry now.
No, do not. Or you can,
Oh,
but
too much truth. We got to move away. Let's talk about chocolate is evil and give Lilocan all
what
your chocolates.
do you see the last comments? Seriously?
He
Yeah, I
said,
mean, for me, it means a lot.
what?
Do you
Oh,
see the last comments in the chat?
shine the light as Hecate would. Aw.
And is he from? Who is
Apollo,
from?
I know, right? Yeah, and I think we encompass both good and evil within ourselves, and we need both in order to grow. I agree, as well as to maintain balance. White chocolate is even more evil. I agree. I don't like white chocolate. And the darker the chocolate, the better. See? I love like 87% cacao in my chocolate, like really dark chocolate. I really like it. Let me be a mirror to your white chocolate bias. Yeah, okay. Cadbury eggs for all. Yay. I'd rather have a peanut butter cup, a Reese's peanut butter cup. We're at 9:33.
Mm.
I think we filled our hour.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement of the shadow is very important. Yes, I agree. I agree. So, Adam, thank you for not showing up.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you for not showing up, Adam. I'll have to read all those messages that I got from him, Adam. Next week, it's just you and me, right?
I think so.
I don't think we came up with a topic yet.
No.
No. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
think
her and I are like, oh no. It is.
can't remember.
I don't. I think it says to be announced. Actually, yeah, to be announced. So we're having a show next week. It'll be Obsidian and myself, and we don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll figure it out. And
Oh, can I have one word for the end because I was just shit at the end. Just, about the concept of working with demons in a, bad understanding of it. Yeah, I'm working with bad entities, and yeah, look at as how bad I am. That's bullshit. You need to convince yourself that you're strong and bad, but you won't convince me in any way. That, yeah, it was just my 2 cents in the end, because I'm kind of, you know, fed up by all the I'm working with demon. Look how bad and dangerous I am. Yeah, sure. Okay, that was my 2 cents. Sorry.
Yes. So, yes, next Friday, tune in. So say goodnight to everyone, Obsidian.
Oui, bien sûr, c'est l'heure de dire au revoir et j'ai même pas la caméra en face de moi. Voilà. Bon, moi, j'espère que ça aurait été distrayant. On n'avait pas d'invité, mais finalement, ça a été intéressant. En espérant vous voir la semaine prochaine pour qu'on discute de je ne sais pas quoi. En attendant, ça nous fait plaisir de vous avoir. Et voilà, à la semaine prochaine, j'espère. Bye bye.
And I will see you all next week. Thank you for being a part of our show. Love you all. Bye. Blessed be.